Hello everybody, welcome to Global Cajon. In this chapter we are going to talk about the closings or cierres in bulería. Hope you find it interesting. Bulería style has another unique characteristic. It's traditionally organized around a concept called falseta. Falsetas are short guitar pieces of music with unitary artistic character, which means that each one of them makes complete sense on their own. They have an incredible rhythmic complexity, and I really encourage you to check this artistic expression, because that's really what guitar in bulería is all about. The implications of having the guitar organized in falsetas are huge for cajon players, because what we do is basically comp all of the patterns we saw work perfectly as comping groove in different situations, but when it comes to the ending of each of those short guitar pieces called falseta, they all close in a very specific same point. This ending of the falseta is what we call the cierre. And the target point of the cierre, where each falseta ends, is the 11th beat of the 12/8 bar. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's it. Again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Acknowledge that the cierre in that 11th note is on the same beat as the last accented bass note of the traditional bulería pattern. That is one of the ways that makes the cierres or falseta endings easy to spot. Notice that that landmark in which the bulería frequently closes or stops is really the last accent of the bulería structure. Pon, 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 pon. Pon, 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 pon. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let me give you a little more complex example of an ending in that 11th note. But have in mind that the number of ways of ending on that note could make a book on its own. Un, dos, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, What makes the closing at the end of each falseta more complex, but at the same time more interesting and fun, is that target note, that 11th beat of the 12th 8, is only a landmark or a reference point in which many times, instead of landing really there, you flirt around with. This translates in the fact that modern bulería closings or cierres don't always land on that 11th note, but close to it. It's very frequent to see falsetas ending 1/16th note before that 11th. That's on 10th E, or 1/16th note after the 11th, that's in 11th end. Or even way before, like on 9 or 8.
La luna me coge de la mano, compara su amor con el universo y me dice al oído, vete a buscarla que te está queriendo, que sueña contigo y te cura de eso y te me beso. Y a caramelo de menta y limón, y a caramelo de menta y limón, parece lo beso primo que camelo, yo que camelo yo. Ese pañuelo lo llevo conmigo, pa' cuando yo llore tenerlo contigo. Ese pañuelo lo llevo conmigo, pa' cuando yo llore tenerlo contigo. Ese pañuelo lo llevo conmigo, pa' cuando yo llore tenerlo contigo.
Okay, we are super clear where that landmark is to do the typical closing in bulerías, okay, which is the 10 in the flamenco way of counting. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Or the 11th, 8th note if you are counting in a more academical way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? Or the third beat of the second bar if you are counting bulerías in 2 bars of 3/4, which is also a very common way of counting. It would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. All right? We have that point super clear. Now let's see what I mean when I talk about closing a little before or a little after. I'm going to do just a few examples of closing a 16th note before that landmark or a 16th note after the landmark. And there are lots of different examples of how to close before or after, but I want you to understand what I mean by understanding a closing related to the landmark. Let's do a closing right before the 10. And now let's do a cierre or a closing right after the 10. Let me give you some examples of common and representative ways of ending that I use a lot. Two, three. Okay, we are going to see a cierre now in the 10th end in the flamenco way of counting, which is the 11th end of the conventional way of counting. Let's count flamenco. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 y 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ah! That's the cierre, okay? Let's check it out. Okay, let's see an example of a cierre in the 8th end of the flamenco way of counting, which is the same thing as the 9th end of the regular way of counting. So, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ahí. Okay, let's see one more cierre. This time we are closing in the 1E of the flamenco way of counting. That last one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1E. Okay, this is the last 16th note of the bulería pattern if you want to count it the conventional way. Let's see it counting the flamenco way. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. ¡Ah! Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see a played example. There is something beautiful that happens frequently after the cierres or closings in bulerías. It's not a rule, but it happens a lot, and it's good that we stop and explain it. We know that the typical place to do a closing it's in 10, or the third beat of the second bar of 4/4. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We know that the spot where it's common to do the cierres or closings is in the 10 in the flamenco way of counting, the 11 in the academic way of counting, or easier in the third beat of the second bar of 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But where do we start playing after the cierre? We don't start playing in 1. We don't start playing at the beginning of the bar. There's a space there where nobody plays between the closing and the groove again. So it's good to know where to start. That spot, which makes it very beautiful because we don't play nothing around the downbeat, the strong beat, is the 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom, 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 tiki, boom, boom, tiki, boom. Closing, ra, boom, tiki, boom, boom. One, two, 1, 2. To comp a dancer in flamenco is one of the most exciting tasks of a cajon player. What good dancers do with their feet is sometimes even impossible to do with hands. They are really, really rhythmically impressive. Since they are improvising most of the times, it's better to step back and help them do their thing. Have in mind that they don't have a bass note. So sometimes it's a good idea to provide that bass note. and let them do the improvising on the higher frequencies, except when you know exactly a cierre that you have rehearsed, and then you go for it. Otherwise, you are going to be kind of separated, although in the same grid, and then you're going to get together on the cierre. In this chapter, we learned that those phrases that end in a closing in a bulería are called falsetas. Also, that most of them close or do the cierre in that landmark note, which is the 10 in the flamenco way of counting. If you have that spot clear in your head, all the variations are just a matter of practicing. Well, I hope you enjoyed this chapter. You can find many other chapters of the Global Cajon method in my YouTube channel. Also in my website or Facebook, you can find the index to see all the chapters. See you around. Adios.